really, before we launch into the workbook for students, today's idea, which is Workbook Lesson 44, I want to just say thank you to all of you for tuning in, for your own practice, more than anything else in life, for your own spiritual practice. Really, this is the best offering we could ever make to anyone, is our own choice, our own decision to practice, whatever that looks like for you. Maybe it involves A Course in Miracles. Maybe it involves meditation. Maybe it involves prayer. Maybe it involves things that you do on your own. Perhaps it's a group, whether, well, in person, maybe we'll get back to that. I think we will very soon, or virtual. But things are done in groups, they're done individually, and it's the most important thing. And we've got a fly on me live. What do you think of that? And we'll just get that out of the way. Yeah, the most important thing that we could ever do is our own spiritual work, our own practice. That is fundamentally the best offering we could make to anyone. Why? What happens when we go to work peeling our own layers and our own stuff off of us is that everybody benefits, don't they? Everyone in the world benefits, and it has a tremendous ripple effect that just extends. And we're so fortunate. I'm happy. We're fortunate to have modern technology like the internet, like Enlightened World Network. You are fortunate wherever you are in the world to be able to watch this live stream right now, to watch other programs on this network and on other networks, and just immerse yourself in the purity, in the magnificence, in the worth of your own being. So thank you very much for joining me. Thank you for all of your comments and shares. As you know, I do get 2 comments here on the live stream and on the replay as well, if you're catching it then. So let's keep it relatively brief on the comments for the lesson today. I really don't have an awful lot to say about this, which is unusual, I know. It's unusual because there's really, sometimes I find that there's a lot of explanation that goes into a workbook lesson, or that there are several stories from my own experience, from other people's experience, that jump out. And on this one, lesson 44, God is the light in which I see. Really, there's very little to be added to that. This is the idea for today. God is the light in which I see. Well, a couple of things. Light is part of creation. It's part of who we are, and it's not possible to see without it. Luckily, it's part of creation. It's part of who we are. Therefore, we can see with the light. Second point, the light is not outside of us. It's part of creation. It's part of who we are. I'm repeating this for a reason. The light is within us. It cannot be found outside. It's within. All spiritual work is within. Now, we may do kind things. We may do kind works, kind deeds in the world. We may forgive people. We may make donations. We may pray. We may say wonderful, kind things to others. But the work, the real work of spirituality, is internal. And the external world, as we all have been told in many different traditions, the external world is a reflection of what's going on inside us. That's where the light is. So in lesson 44 in the workbook for students, the workbook has us spend some time reaching the light. And we don't have to go anywhere. Again, it's part of creation. It's part of who we are. We do not have to make any journeys. Wherever you are is where you're supposed to be. We do not have to take up robes, shave our heads, and run off to a monastery in the Himalayas. This is not required in order to practice. So it's not required in order to meditate. And yes, each and every one of us does have time for this. This is what time is for us to make the decision. So sometimes I'm tempted to talk with my hands. Today's the day to talk with my hands because I've got company here in the form of a small black fly. I guess the fly is interested in A Course in Miracles. So we all have time to meditate. That is the purpose of time, so that we can decide to choose love. We can choose for God, in other words, and we can spend time practicing this lesson and attempting to reach the light. And again, it's innate. It's within us. In fact, it is us being part of creation, part of who we are. That's my mantra today. It's part of creation. It's part of who we are. It's part of creation. Yes. On and on. Yeah. And we need to have things repeated to us, don't we? As adult learners, it's very important because we don't get things right away. You may get this in a blinding flash, and I hope that you may do that. That would be really wonderful. But most of us have to have something on repeat before we take it to heart, so to speak, before we allow the truth to sink in and to influence our lives and our thoughts and everything that we do. Everything that we do. This is, as described in Workbook Lesson 44, a basic meditation practice. You may meditate on a regular basis. You may do it occasionally, and maybe you have no practical experience with this at all, and it doesn't matter if you don't. This can be attempted anywhere and successfully done by anyone, any place, any time. And it is all a matter of relaxing our minds. Our minds are preoccupied, are they not? Not just with our internet feed, with our news feed on Facebook and Twitter, for example, email, it could be phone calls. If you have kids, it could be the kids. It could be that you have a dog or a cat that's demanding your attention. There's always something that seems to be pulling at us. And spiritual practice involves listening to a different voice, listening to a voice that in A Course in Miracles is called the Holy Spirit, or the universal inspiration, the voice for God, many different names. The idea is this is a quiet and calm voice, not the frenetic chatter of the ego, which races around really like it's had too much caffeine, perfectly honestly, racing around, pulled in many different directions. And we have a choice in the present moment to identify with insanity, or we have a choice to identify with the calm, loving presence of our own being. And this is an attempt today, practicing Workbook Lesson 44 to reach this. This is meditation in a nutshell. As you may know, meditations can be very short. In fact, they can be as short as one breath, or they can be several minutes long, an hour long. They can be lengthy. and involve all kinds of different guided visualizations, music, recitation of a mantra. There are many different ways to do it. What we're doing is we're calming our minds, training our minds to relax and allow the power of the Holy Spirit, in other words, the power of God, to permeate our being, to allow us literally the mental, the emotional, the spiritual, psychological space and time to wake up. This is what Workbook Lesson 44 is about. God is the light in which I see. So let's see who's joining us here on the live stream. Well, we know we've got a small black fly who has graced us with his presence or her presence. I don't know. And let's see who we've got on here. So we've got several people. Thank you all for joining me. Deirdre, hello. And Tammy, and Andrea, hi. How are you? Robert, good evening. How are you? Yes, this is really wonderful to see all of you here. And again, as I mentioned at the outset, thank you all for tuning in. And if you're catching this on the replay, thank you for tuning in again. And for your practice and your dedication to not just to yourself, but to everything that lives. Right? This is a collective effort. Yes, we make a decision ourselves to choose love every moment of every day, but this is very much a global effort. And literally, this is a global live stream with people here from different continents all the time, every day. And so I thank you all for joining and for your practice. And hello, everybody. Yeah, so if you have specific comments or questions, we have time here on this live. We have time to discuss anything that is related to A Course in Miracles, whether it is related to this particular lesson or not, or universal spirituality. And it's so much fun because the Course doesn't care if you're practicing several different traditions outside of it. And it doesn't make any difference. It's not a religion. It is only intended to be a self-study guide. It's only intended to enhance whatever practice you currently have. And many people have found that a study of these principles, which are universal in application, has enhanced their own walk, has enhanced their own faith, has enhanced their own practice, whether it's a traditional religion or not, doesn't matter. So yeah, this is something that is broadly applicable. I mean, all of these ideas apply to everyone, everywhere. And then my guest is now on the ring light above me, the small black fly. He's actually landed on my cheek, and yeah, behind my head. This is always interesting when you're live. Yeah, that's always interesting when you're live. Sometimes I'm also a podcast host and I record in ahead of time, but sometimes people have had cats come up and knock the microphone off, and we've had to pause the recording, that sort of thing. I've had live streams going on. I used to be on Om Times Radio with a radio show there, and I remember very, very well one day a train went by really close to the house where I was staying, and with the whistle, and that was our gift live to the entire planet. So thank you all for tuning in. Quick announcement is this is a daily live stream. However, tomorrow and Sunday, so tomorrow, March 20th, and Sunday, March 21st, I will not be joining you for this live stream. I will resume on Monday. So we will resume with Workbook Lesson 45 on Monday, March the 22nd. This weekend, Enlightened World Network is celebrating the the launch of EWN One with the Earth, another channel here dedicated to our relationship with the planet here on Enlightened World Network. So there will be 2 days of special programming. And check the show guide, by the way, here on Facebook for the exact program listing. I'll be hosting one segment, and there are a number of people that are coming and presenting for that. So this live stream will resume on Monday. And enjoy the programming this weekend. This is something that we're all very, very excited about here at the network. So I will see you all again on Monday for this live stream on A Course in Miracles. Thank you all for joining me here today. And I hope that everybody has a wonderful weekend.